それは構いませんが、どうぞ。マナさん、報告書によると、あなたは以前アンノーンに襲われたことがあったはずだ。もしかしたらあなたは特殊能力の持ち主なのではありませんか。信じてください。秘密は守ります。それに、あなたも当然ご存知でしょうが、津上さんがアミトだということを私は知っているんです。
そうだったんですか。
あなたには普通の人間には見えないものが見える。違いますか。
ヘンソンの手紙。
お客様にご乗船の最終案内をいたします。13時ちょうど発の暁号高松行きはまもなく出港いたします。
なんとか間に合った。すいません。
てめえどこに目つけて歩いてんだ。
いや、だから謝ってるじゃないですか。すいませんって。
うるせえ。ふらふら歩き回ってんじゃねえよ。
これやめないか少年。せっかくの船旅が台無しじゃないか。ほら美しい景色を見て頭を冷やせ。
やめろやめろ。
教えてください。何が見えるのか。
女の人は見えます。これを書いた人です。でも自分の意思で書いてるんじゃありません。何かの力で
件に巻き込まれた。それって犯人はこの中にいるってことですか？冗談じゃないわ。殺人犯なんかと一緒にいられるもんですか？今すぐ下ろしてよ。
こういうのって大体慣れちゃってんじゃないですか。
そんな違います。
そうですよ。そんなわけないじゃないですか。
なんでそんなことが言えんだよ。
だってそんな人に見えませんもん。
ありがとう。私のことをかばってくれて。
ええ、別に大したことじゃありません。でも驚きましたね。まさか人が死ぬなんて。
まだあんなに若いのに。
今度は船酔いじゃなさそうだな。死体を見たショックか。
ああ、そうだよ。どうせ俺は医者になんてなれっこないんだ。あんたにわかるか？家が代々医者だからって俺に妙な期待かけやがって。死にたいのはこっちの方だよ。
そんなことは言わないことだ。さっきの青年を見ただろう。死んだら終わりだ。私は仕事柄人の死に立ち会うことが多い。でもほとんどの人が後悔しながら死んでいくんです。人は後悔しないように生きるべきだ。自分の思い通り。自分の人生を狭くするのは他人じゃない。本当は自分自身なんだよ。
どうしたの？何か気になることでもある？
いえ、別に。
でもさっきの話本当よね。自分の人生を狭くするのは自分自身だ。私ね、実家に帰るところなんだ。ずっと東京で一人暮らしして看護婦を目指してたんだけど、試験に落ちちゃって、親がいい加減に帰ってこいって。でももう一度一からやってみようかな。
いいんじゃないですか。人生やっぱチャレンジですよ。
Oh fuck, I did that shit again. Forgot to put them.
すいませんでした。さっきは偉そうなこと言ってしまって。
とんでもない。いい話でしたよ。俺、ちょっと考えちゃって。
そう。じゃあやっぱり辞めるんだ、会社。
お店持つの昔からの夢だったし。ごめんね。
実は俺の姉さん死んじゃったんです。警察は自殺だって言ったらしい。俺は信じていなかった。きっと姉さんもっともっと生きたかったんだろうなって。そうだ、ちょっと見てもらいたいものがあるんですけど、いいですか？
何でしょう。
姉さんが書いたものなんですけど、お医者さんなら外国の言葉とかいろいろご存知ですよね。
こんな言語は見たことはありませんが。なんだ。戻りましょう。
この絵は
がで一人はまだな。だがそれまでは生きられるだろう。覚醒の前兆が訪れるまで。ただしこのことは誰にも言ってはならない。決して忘れるな。お前たちの時間は長くはない。お前たちに未来はないのだ。
誰も人の未来を奪うことはできない。変身。
所詮ただの人間の力ではどうにもできない。もらいました。アキトの力、アキトの存在は無意味なのです。
目覚めろ、その魂。
So guess what's happening? Joe Biden is doing some more fantastic work. Joe Biden is going to allow the eviction moratorium to expire on Saturday. So remember they gave you $1,400 and $600, and that was supposed to get you through a year and a half. Remember that? So now,
And that equals 2,000, dummy.
and so now they're getting rid of the. It's going to expire Saturday. And wait, first of all, some things are going to fundamentally change. Remember, he said nothing will fundamentally change. Well, it's going to fundamentally change for some people who don't have a house anymore or a place to live. And that's a big change. And Joe Biden, by the way, was the vice president the last time we had an economic downturn caused by Wall Street and the reckless regulation or deregulation from the government. So it wasn't the people's fault that we had an economic crash that destroyed home values. And so what did Joe Biden do? And during the last economic crash, Ron, you know what he did. They kicked 5.1 million families out of their houses. Families, not people, families out of their houses. They didn't help them. Made them homeless. That was that. And
BlackRock helped.
yeah,
And now there's a bunch of miner workers in New York City outside of BlackRock's offices because they have stakes in that too.
they have, yes. So here is the Biden administration announced Thursday it will allow a nationwide ban on evictions to expire Saturday, urging that its hands are tied after the Supreme Court signaled the moratorium would only be extended until the end of the month. Rumor has it, our hands are tied is the official Democratic slogan for 2024.
We're just lawmakers. If only we could do something.
If I had some power, maybe someday Joe Biden will be in a position of power and he can do something. Maybe. The White House said President Joe Biden would have liked to extend the federal eviction moratorium due to spread of the highly contagious. Wow. Gee, I mean, it would be nice if people could stay in their homes during a pandemic, but sorry. So they're going to kick people out of their homes in the middle of a goddamn pandemic.
And homelessness is criminalized in LA.
And homelessness is now a crime in LA. Thanks to Jeffrey Katzenberg and the Young Turks. Go ahead.
Well, and also, just another side note here, there's a study that just came out of UCLA because there's been certain areas and states that have already lifted their eviction moratoriums, and there's also ways There's also ways around it too. It's very kind of shady stuff, but there are ways for landlords to get around an eviction moratorium based on the stuff that might be in your lease. Like if there was a landlord's lien, technically your landlord could just start taking your stuff until you leave. So it's really, dude. And I learned this from going into clubhouse rooms incognito. I won't go into too much detail because I don't want to get too sidetracked, but I was working on a script, and so I wanted to learn like how they're doing that kind of stuff. So I went into these clubhouse rooms where these landlords were talking about how you can get people out, even with the eviction moratorium. But anyway, there was this study out of UCLA, and they're estimating that they did studies on where the evictions are already starting to happen, and they estimate at least 10,000 people would still be alive if the eviction moratorium was still going everywhere. Like 10,000 people at least are dead because of that.
Instead, Biden called on Congress to extend the eviction moratorium to protect such vulnerable renters and their families without delay. Except he waited a whole month to ask for that to happen. He waited to 3 days before they're all getting evicted to ask Congress to act, and Congress is getting ready to go home. Here's from Dave Dayen. He says, what is that? What is he write for? What is he write for? Buzz? What is it? Prospect or something? What's it called? I never see it anymore. A very not our fault statement from Psaki, meaning the president's press secretary. The Supreme Court ruling was June 29th. The White House waited a month and until the day the House is leaving for a 6-week recess to say, yeah, Congress really should do something about that. Yeah, that's why they didn't have a buck to give the people. They were too busy passing it. After weeks of silence, the White House is now saying just 3 days before the eviction moratorium expires that they want Congress to extend it, but can't themselves. My reporting suggests no senior officials in the White House were pushing for an extension even before the court ruling. That's from Jeff Stein. Oh, shucks. Somebody forgot to put prevent eviction crisis on the calendar for the government. The White House, this is from Andrew Perez, says the White House put out a statement today saying Congress should pass legislation to extend the eviction moratorium that expires in 2 days. They really mean it. The president calls on Congress to extend the eviction moratorium to protect such vulnerable renters and their families without delay. Without delay, it's July 29th. The moratorium was put in place last September by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. By the end of March, 6.4 million American households were behind in their rent, according to the Department of Housing and Urban Development. As of July 5th, roughly 3.6 million people in the U.S. face eviction in the next 2 months, according to the U.S. Census Bureau Household Public Survey. The Director of Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said in June this would be the last time the moratorium would be extended when she set the deadline for July 31st. It was initially put in place to prevent further spread of COVID-19 by people put out in the streets and into shelters. But landlords who have opposed the moratorium and challenged it repeatedly in court were against any extension. They have argued the focus should be on speeding up the distribution of rental assistance. Well, that sounds smart. I mean, how could you argue with that? I mean, I understand the landlord's in a position. He's still got a note to pay. And so why doesn't the government give them rental assistance? That sounds reasonable that they would push for that. Here's the top, by the way. Can I just tell you the top sectors that are donating to Joe Biden? What do you think? Finance, insurance, and real estate. Finance, insurance, and real estate. There you go. That's who's donating. That makes up, according to this sector, half of his donations. Peak Joe Biden for Democrats. This is from Jordan Sheraton. peak Joe Biden and Democrats, toss out some symbolism that you want the eviction moratorium expiring in 2 days extended, but wait to do so until it's too late and your donors can finally mass evict. That's right. This is going to end so badly for Americans who can't afford their rent. So much for Build Back Better. Guess he meant make the rich rich again. That's exactly right. In other words, if you're poor, neither party cares about you. Describe American politics in one sentence. There it is. So that's happening this Saturday. So just like Barack Obama and Joe Biden, when they kicked 5.1 million families out of their house and didn't help them, they bailed out the banks and gave people your house, gave the banks your house too. They bailed out the bankers, they were made whole, and they gave them your house. And they're getting ready to do it again. Joe Biden's doing it again. So they're going to give $1 trillion a day. Remember, they would give $1 trillion a day to Wall, whatever it took for Wall Street. You're getting kicked out of your house, fuck you. I don't know what's going on in this country, but I know that our politicians have completely abandoned us, and nobody thinks it's the correct thing to raise your voice. I don't understand. If I was getting ready to get kicked out of my house, I would be doing more than protesting. I would be doing a lot more than just protesting. And anybody who wanted to tone police me as I was getting evicted better fucking do it from the other side of the country. Could you imagine, Ron, someone tone policing you as you're getting evicted?
I mean, sadly, yes, I could picture people doing that. But yeah, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. And I also want to add here, this is the second time in, I want to say, a month, maybe a little longer than that, but it wasn't too terribly long ago, something came up again where everybody, like all the Democrats, oh man, we should do something about this. I think it was a defense bill of sorts where they're like, oh, we should do something about this. And the deadline was yesterday, but we're going to try to do something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
either they have the worst time management in the history of the world, or somebody's bullshitting us.
Yeah, that was about helping Palestine and Bernie Sanders' bill, and of course he introduced it like a day after it was something like that, right?
Yeah.
It was again, their timing is very suspect. So this idea, where is Bernie Sanders? Is he going to do anything to push Joe Biden to help these people? No, he's not going to do anything. Is Bernie Sanders going to lift a finger to help these people? I don't know. We'll see. He hasn't done anything so far, and everybody knows this has been coming. And is Bernie Sanders going to threaten to put a hold on a bill in case we take care of it? No. He's not going to do anything. He's going to let these millions and millions of people be evicted while he does nothing. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And neither is anybody in this Congress. There's nobody in the House. No. Where's Rokada? Where's the squad? Where's fucking nothing? These people have completely abandoned you. Where are the other YouTube hosts screaming about this, saying where's our strategy to put pressure on politicians to do something? They'll never put pressure on politicians. Again, that's why the country's in the fucking state it's in. That's why there's people sleeping under every bridge. What do people tell their kids? Like, I was thinking about that when I was in Austin. There's people sleeping under bridges in Austin. And I was like, what do people tell their kid? Like, that's just a normal part of life now. Like, when you're...
What do you tell your kid who's starting to grow up?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I mean, I have a lot of friends who are, like, in that situation where it's like their kids are, 12, 13, whatever. What do you tell them about the type of world that they're likely going to be going into?
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know either. I mean, neither of us have kids, and I can't. Sounds like the toughest gig in the freaking world.
What do? You have to find some lie to tell them that human beings are horrible, and nobody's going to fight for anybody, and the best you could do is look out for yourself before you die. Because this isn't a community. This country is just run by rapacious oligarchs, and they own the media, and the people who are supposed to be saying stuff and fighting back aren't. People like the Democrats, people like Bernie Sanders, people like the Squad, people like YouTube hosts. They're going along with the establishment. That's what's happening. Chicago, we've added a second show August 7th. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for tickets. We're going to be in Chicago August 7th, and then we're going to Portland. We're going to Sacramento. We're going to, where else we go? We're going to Las Vegas. We're going to lots of places. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for all the tickets.
The Diver. Let me tell you, folks, when we first filmed this episode and started doing some of the editing, it was still a very much unknown thing if Diver was going to be a reality. But as I stand here today, Diver is fully funded. Incredible. Thank you. You far exceeded our expectation. All the same, let's hop in and see what makes The Diver great. Well, friends, it's an exciting time in the world of Nuts in the Slice as well as the pizza, because we're doing a new pre-order / crowdfunding event. These are always the most fun you can have in our community. People go wild, and together we've managed to raise and finance some pretty important and crucial action figures that have no business existing. They shouldn't be made into toys. These are just bizarre ideas in my brain, but together, through our collective action, we give these characters a reality. And I always think that's a pretty amazing thing about Knights of the Slice and their fans and the community. So, what's on the docket today? Who are we trying to unlock? Well, it is with great pleasure I present the perfect diver. Now, this diver character is something that's been floating around Knights of the Slice for quite a while. This is a in-demand figure. Everybody has been waiting for this moment for us to get to the pre-order and the fundraising event for Diver. I would say this is probably the single most requested figure out of everything that's been shown concept-wise in the history of Knights of the Slice. So what's the story here behind the Diver? Why are we meeting this character? What is his utility in the greater world of Knights of the Slice? Well, as it turns out, there is a vector cave. This has appeared on people's radar now. We know there's this anomaly at the bottom of the ocean. We're not quite sure what's in the vector cave, so we need to dispatch a diver to go and check this out. Once the diver is unlocked at the goal of $15,000, he may find other things in this cave that also get unlocked, that become accessories or other characters. We don't know how deep the vector cave goes, and part of the fun of this is that surprise and exploration. This campaign is going to be a little bit different than how we've previously structured these events. You guys are not going to know necessarily when the next unlock or the next bonus item happens. These can pop up at any time. Similarly, you will not know when the next character is found in the vector cave ahead of time. These can be random events throughout the entire year. I'd like the vector cave to sort of be a consistent fixture on our store. And once the diver is sort of taken care of, there is other things that may bubble to the top of this cave. So if you look at our previous campaign for Ascend 5 and Pro Mega, there was a limited window in which you could order those figures, and then that campaign ended, and that was the end of it. You know, we sort of went about our merry way, and are almost nearly done with the production on both figures, and going to start fulfillment sometime soon. With the vector cave concept, what we can have is, instead of 2 super deluxe figures that take a long time to develop and sort of bottleneck all of our production, we have the ability to space things out a bit. So Diver can be unlocked, his production can start, and then another character could be offered up, or an accessory set, or bonuses. It also provides a very strategic way for us to spread the funds we raise out over a longer timetable and avoid these slowdowns in the production pipeline that we've experienced. This becomes particularly crucial with the unstable state of the world, with China still dealing with effects of the pandemic, as we all are, as the entire supply chain is. So in an uncertain world, by having this kind of, let's say, malleable fundraising conduit, it hopefully insulates us a little bit better from production delays, from FedEx delays, from any kind of bumps we may hit on the road so far. Now, I'm sure people's immediate question is going to be, why not just lay out exactly what can be unlocked and incentivize people to raise the maximum amount of dollars to keep this thing going and keep churning and burning and scooping up all those gold coins? Why not just lay out all the goals and let people know exactly what can be unlocked at certain dollar amounts? Well, at this point in our history of Knights of the Slice, we're entering year 7 of total development for this line. And from where I stand today, we've shipped everything on time, if not early. And that's not easy to do over the past 7 years. So I think we've
For centuries, wars have been fought by soldiers in national uniforms. But today, there are new players on the battleground. Private military companies have played an increasing role in global conflicts. For the soldier with no flag, modern warfare is a lucrative trade. But some of these companies have committed atrocities and other human rights abuses. The 2007 Mysore Square massacre shone a light on the actions of these shadowy groups.
17 people died here in September 2007 when contractors from US security firm Blackwater unleashed a bloodbath.
A 9-year-old boy was one of the 17 victims shot dead by Blackwater officers. A PMC that had won over $1 billion worth of US contracts over the course of the war in Iraq. Today, PMCs are used across the globe, and business is booming. Russia uses them in the Middle East and Africa. China is using them to protect its Belt and Road Initiative project. And even radical Islamists have entered the PMC game, with companies like Malhama Tactical offering training to jihadi groups, as seen in this Channel 4 documentary. And when things get messy, countries can blame contractors or deny their involvement. So how are nations allowed to fight these shadow wars and evade international law? And what happens when soldiers of fortune are given corporate backing? This is the story of the private military company's Systemair. The private military industry that exists today has its roots in the 20th century. In post-colonial African countries, mercenaries became notorious for mounting coups, putting down rebellions, and committing abuses.
Small groups or individuals who were performing acts of war or espionage, doing so as individuals, soldiers of fortune.
In 1963, communist rebels in the Congo launched a rebellion, but were crushed by mercenaries.
They can't take what we've got.
Led by a South African called Mad Mike Hoare, initially hired by Moise Chombe, a Congolese businessman who ended up forming a secessionist government, Mad Mike claimed that he and his men had killed between 5,000 and 10,000 people, and was later featured in a BBC interview.
The greatest thrill I get, of course, is the command of men. I'm talking about real men. Not a whole flock of Nancy boys. I mean the real McCoy.
Decades of human rights abuses committed by mercenaries like Mad Mike eventually led to the 1989 UN Mercenary Convention. This attempted to ban the use of mercenaries, but the convention could be sidestepped by avoiding the term mercenary and giving the old guns for hire a corporate makeover.
They drew the definition so tightly that, in effect, almost anyone could say and be correct from a legal perspective that they were not a mercenary. By having that corporate structure and being under contract to a legitimate government.
The ban unwittingly created a roadmap for the creation of private military companies. PMCs begin to change from simple contractors to the corporations we see today. After the Cold War, this change accelerated. The world was flooded with unemployed soldiers and arms from the US and Russia.
There was a market niche where former soldiers and commanders in particular had a skill set that they believed would be useful and marketable to states that were willing to buy them.
Interstate conflict was replaced by smaller revolutionary and ethnic civil wars, all of which created a security vacuum that PMCs could step into.
Military functions were offloaded into contingency contracts.
By the 1990s, governments had come to view PMCs as a key foreign policy tool, a way to bypass international laws to exert influence abroad. In the Yugoslav Civil War, the U.S. used a private company to train the Croatian army.
Croatian troops have made significant gains, punching through Serb defense in several places.
By using a PMC, the U.S. was able to avoid a UN embargo on countries providing military support to the warring sides. The contracted PMC, known as MPRI, was accused of abetting the genocide of ethnic Serbs caught up in fighting. When Serbs later attempted to sue MPRI a decade later, their case was thrown out of a U.S. court as the alleged offense occurred outside U.S. jurisdiction. The difficulty in prosecuting PMCs has led to a wild west where private military contractors operate with impunity.
A lot of the initial UN effort was to try to cull these mercenaries and get the statute approved. And so there was a big debate about how to even talk about them, which extended really until the middle of the 2000s.
The 1989 convention finally became law in 2001, but only 37 countries have signed up. And major players like the US, UK, Russia, and China refused. That same year, the attack on the World Trade Center triggered a war on terror that saw an explosion in the use of PMCs.
It's our time, buddy. And follow Proto, it's because it's our time.
I was going to ask, yeah, go ahead. Help.
Private military contracts allow the government to avoid congressional limits on troop numbers and reduce the official death toll, as their fatalities are not included in government figures. This means the public is often not aware of the true financial and human cost of war. Since 2001, 1,000 more contractors have died in Iraq and Afghanistan than U.S. troops.
The American military was being strained significantly, but they had built into place, primarily throughout the 1990s, this ability to bring in additional contract support employees. And that model was also being adopted by our allies.
The Bush administration would eventually employ more than 155,000 contractors in Iraq alone. But notorious abuses involving PMCs continue to emerge.
يعني أسلوب من أساليبهم إنه القبض تناسلي للرجل يلفون عليه حبل ويجروه هيك مثل عملية الخنق.
The torture of prisoners at Abu Ghraib prison shocked the world and involved private military contractors from CACI and Titan.
شنو الداعي لأنه جيش يستعين
How long have you been working on it? About an hour now. An hour inking and probably another 45 minutes doing the pencils.
Their status as a company operating during times of war shields them from prosecution
Almost
under
2
both
hours.
international and U.S. law.
But I don't
In
stream the
they operate in, like Iraq,
I don't stream the pencil portion unless people really want it, but I find it
American contractors working in Iraq 15,
I find
20
it
years
a bit
ago were operating under U.S. law
tedious.
to the extent that U.S. law
At least the way
governs their activities overseas
I do my pencils.
and operating under the
Because I'll do the initial sketch and there's like a bunch of searching lines that I lay out, and
during that period of time before the transfer of sovereignty.
I feel that
More concerning,
that
however,
it'll take forever for me to
PMC has entered the battlefield.
get to something that I'm
For alleged abuses, almost impossible.
satisfied with before I start inking it.
The Wagner Group has been helping Russia advance its interest abroad.
Plus, I'm still
from
trying to
helping
get
Russian
used
troops
to
annex Crimea to supporting Bashar al-Assad in Syria.
streaming things.
For Putin to sort of
To
be able
streaming.
to use this group in order
It's
to
still
carry
a
out things that he would
vulnerable
otherwise be able to do.
experience. Although the inking,
They allegedly attacked U.S. forces
streaming
in
the
Syria,
inking
claim
process,
the Kremlin denied.
The Russian High Command in Syria assured us it was not their people, and my direction to
because I'm inking it, it gets to an end point versus doing the pencils. I can go forever on that thing because I'm so indecisive of what I want a drawing to look like.
Direct link to the Kremlin and are allegedly financed by one of Putin's closest allies.
Today, there's still no specific international body to regulate the actions of PMCs, and
Inking, I'm
incidents of
forced
abuse
to
are rarely prosecuted.
put a line down
As the lines between warfare, terrorism,
and then
organized crime
react
become
to that
increasingly
line,
blurred, so have their
respond to that
operations.
line.
We should really
With the next line, it's so amazing. Thank you. Thank you, I love you, moi.
You can't find
I
out as
love
much
you,
about
moi.
this industry as you can about military forces.
If I could really fix this, I would essentially deputize them, incorporate them, hold them accountable by bringing them into the actual.
This is also the first time I've streamed with YouTube on.
Many more bad things happening before things are corrected.
Let's see if this gets flagged. Probably will. YouTube will probably feel like this once I upload it there. Why do you say it like that? I don't know. I don't know.
The Diver. Let me tell you, folks, when we first filmed this episode and started
Why do
doing
I
some
say
of the
anything
editing,
like the
it
way
was
I
still
say
a
it?
very much unknown thing if Diver was going to be a reality.
You want me to say it again?
Hey, everybody. You get what you pay for, folks. You get what you pay for. It's Office Hours Live. With your host, Mr. Jim Heidecker. Here he is, the one and only. What's going on there, Jim? Right on. Having so much fun this morning that I forgot some fundamentals, guys. We have to remember the fundamentals. Or we fail every time.
Maybe say it one more time like that. I'll save you and not say it one more time like that.
Morning, everybody. The date is
Maybe I'll just talk with vocal fry. You like my vocal fry?
closer and closer to the month of August. The summer nights are getting shorter. Fall approaches. Is it still hot out there? Christmas is around the corner, ladies and gentlemen.
What else do I need to get to?
Around the corner, buddy. What do you think it is? Alright, sorry, right before we were about to go live, I'm talking as the countdown is coming. I go to look at the showdown. Because I like to get ahead of the game a little bit.
You'll clip it? Okay. Oh, people can make clips?
I look at the city today.
I thought it's only me. I'm new to Twitch too, so I don't know how to do. I have to look up on YouTube how to do anything. I've seen that clips thing, but I still don't know what that is. That's something I'll have to look up on YouTube later.
Yeah, and Matt, you did say start a Google Doc, and then we'll have somebody fill in the rest. And then the ball was dropped at that point. It started a bing bong. Ladies and gentlemen,
Now I got to find the weather.
I'll see you guys in an hour.
Time. Tim usually gets to the city a day later and later.
I might not even get to it now. I was spiked.
You got to get to this.
Leave it out today. Of course, this has been a month to remember for the Office Hours community. We've had tremendous shows. Lizzie Cooperman and Steve Conrad last week, Tom Sharpling, A.B. Miles, Fred Armisen. We continue the month of July as the month of Office Hours with the great Kurt Vile in studio. Hello, buddy. Good to see you. Playing that. Recognize that too? Jim Gardner. Gary Papa.
Takes me back. The nightmare of my youth. It's worse now, though.
It's worse now. That's not good. How about a better attitude, Kurt? Kurt's exciting.
We all can grow and we all can learn.
Of course, Kurt Vile is here in Los Angeles making a new record.
Yep.
Which everybody wants and a lot of people need.
Yeah, well, they can buy it. He'll be able to buy it.
When do you think it's going to come out? Next year?
Actually, we're gonna say next year.
Yeah.
Definitely next year.
Why do these? There's so much progress that happens. You know, you have people like Jeff Bezos going to the moon, Bezos going to the moon, setting up shop up there, setting up a sweatshop up there.
He went to the moon?
He went to the moon, set up a sweatshop, set up a sweatshop up there. But when it comes to putting out music, suddenly we've taken 5 steps back because now things take all year. It takes years to put out a record.
We're out of natural resources, vinyl records. We're out of natural vinyl.
Natural vinyl.
Yeah. There was a big fire, other stuff, all this other stuff.
What is? I mean, vinyl's a purely chemical. It's a chemical process to make vinyl, correct?
What do they take? Oil. It's made from oil, petroleum product,
vitamins.
That's a good question, Tim. You threw that at me like I know, and I have no clue.
But there just isn't the demand for it like there used to be, so there aren't the factories making the records. So it's taking a while.
I need to open some more factories, but I think it's literally there was one major factory that burnt down.
Nashville?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
But how are you doing? Oh, I love you.
Can't find it. It's gone.
How's your day going?
But and then
Hope it's going well. I hope your day's going well and all your wishes comes alive.
well, we can at least put it out on Spotify.
They do CDs?
Yeah, I like CDs.
Well, you got a CD player?
I got a Discman.
You think 8 tracks will come back?
Yeah.
Because tapes are cool now. Maybe like 8 tracks would be like this collectible.
But
thing.
CDs sound the best. I mean, don't you think?
When I'm on the road, I get CDs
sound the best.
with a Discman. It's like you got that pure sound straight to the dome.
Would you like a tape, like a magnetic analog sound better than a CD?
Yeah, but I'm just saying the CD is the only thing you'll get that you actually hear the actual master. Like it's the same every time until it scratches or something.
Lossless?
It's what the artist.
But yeah, I mean, you get a nice player, you can sit around and listen to it, vinyl. But I have a Walkman, I have a cassette player. I like cassette
Pretty
too.
good, thank you for asking. How about yours? It's going okay.
But I just got an iPod just for filling.
I had to take pictures of some drawings later today. I kind of don't want to do it, but I have to do it. I'll do it after I'm done with this thing.
I know.
I had no problem doing it. Well, I guess I do, but I just want to set up. I just don't want to, I'm dreading the setup. And where I'm going to set up. I still haven't figured out where I'm going to set these things up.
The problem is the last boring thing is that phone. When you
We had
listen to
a,
it, next thing you know, you see your email.
we had an event here a few days ago in Long Beach called Ink and Drink. Ink and Drink Long Beach, and a bunch of people showed up. We lined it. We're at a venue.
Depends on the personality.
Yes, it sure does. But he was asking, and he was like, oh, "This is great. What is?"
You've got a.
Who's playing that? And what is that?
I know.
And I'm like,
It makes me mad.
I'm so out of it now. I don't know what POG means anymore. I remember the old POG, so what does POG mean now?
So I don't care.
Pictures are nice. Pictures are nice.
Showing them, like, you know, I wouldn't play music for someone, but I wouldn't make them, I wouldn't force that on anyone, but I would
Yeah, but
maybe show someone a video and then they're just talking.
we did this event at a venue, Supply and Demand, which is a bar here in Long Beach, and we lined the tables. We lined all the tables with paper, like long rolls of paper. And throughout the night, people come in, friends and newcomers alike, and we all draw on the paper.
Adeline Babuco, we haven't talked to you in a long time.
And at the end of the night, we have a bunch of drawings. People conversate, meet each other,
friends get to see each other or hang out. New people get to meet other artists in Long Beach.
This is coming up as a thing. I have a neighbor who tested, thank you for the video. I had a neighbor who tested positive and is sick. Are you sick?
Oh, sweet, yeah. Where are you coming out of? Oh, I love you. It's so weird saying that. It's so weird saying that out loud. Where do you live? Oh, I love you. How you do? I hope you're doing well. Oh, I love you.
Tucker Carlson, well, it's not working. It should be illegal to get the vaccine, whatever. But apparently, they say, like, yes, there are going to be people that get it, but it's going to be much more, it'll be much easier to handle, and it's not 100% guarantee.
Are you an artist too? Can I just call you Are you an artist too? Are you an artist too? I think this is pretty much done.
Are you glad you got out of those plans? This is a nice excuse to get out of these social occasions.
Should I do that anime manga line shade thing on the top of the nose, or should I just leave this out?
Shut it all down, folks. Get out of here.
Can you describe your symptoms? Like, how bad is it?
I would say scale 1 to 10, like a 3. I feel like I'm tired.
Do you lose your taste and smell?
Yeah, but that's the worst thing, is like I can't taste anything. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel great. I don't feel great. I've been sleeping a lot, but I'm young, I'm not gonna die.
I have my draw, but not for show or to commissions, just for the fun of it. Good on ya.
Are you gonna eat gross stuff now just because you can?
As long as you stay creative. Do you have? Is there something else that you're more
I don't like olives either. I'm with you.
that you're more creative at?
Keep missing a sandwich, keeping off the pizza.
That you do more in drawing?
Well, let's get to the city of the day. We're sending you our best.
Who's your favorite artist right now? Your current favorite artist. Let's run through I Love You Moi's current favorite artist list. Open up that Instagram. Let's see those names.
I just had a breaking news situation. Our old friends Corey and Brendan O'Hare and Corey Snierawski. Am I saying that right, Ben? Snierawski.
Oh yeah, if you go to Inky Drink Long Beach on Instagram, we also host a online version of our in-person event with a community online drawing board that anyone can join. The drawing board is gridded into squares, so you pick one square to start it off. If you feel that more confident, then go ahead and pick more squares, do a drawing, and later on in the coming days, when the whole thing is filled up, the whole grid is filled up, I will save the whole drawing board, edit all the drawings into individual drawings, and post them up daily. I'm not the only one that's been what am I trying to say? Oh yeah, I'm not the only one that's part of Inky Drink. Inky Drink was started by 3 of us, myself and 2 friends, but really one of my friends, another artist named June the Goon. You can also find him on Instagram at June_the_goon. One night we were hanging out. With me and Dirty Old Roshi. You can also find him on Instagram at Dirty Old Roshi. That's ROSHI. Well, one night, June, Roshi, and I were hanging out. June mentioned that Long Beach doesn't have a drink and draw event. He wanted to start one. He reached out to the first venue that we did it at, Rebel Bite in downtown Long Beach, or outside of downtown. We did it there for a few times. We did it once at another venue that we've done art shows at. And by that time, we were getting ready for that art show. So we put Ink and Drink on the hiatus. But then, I seen the stream you guys did all together last Wednesday. Was it that program you guys used? Yeah, that program, that Aggie.io. Yeah, last Wednesday was a shit show though, because Aggie.io, I don't know if you caught it, but Aggie.io went on server maintenance for the longest time, and we couldn't draw on that board that night. But then June started was already streaming, and he just started drawing on his computer. I followed suit afterwards, and I think Enkidu, who started and set up our Twitch and Discord. He was drawing as well on his own stream.
First 3 customers get a free extra large sock to hide your Johnny Cash in. So join the tens of men in Iowa and Missouri who enjoy the Johnny
I seen it was sad, but you all drew a bunch of amazing things. Thank you. Yeah, I think if the link is still up. I don't know if you joined it, but there's still space if you want to join in. You don't have to draw anything significant. It can be silly. There was one person at the in-person Ink and Drink this past Thursday, and they mentioned that they've always wanted to join, but they don't have tablets themselves. They only have their phone, which you can use, and it can be silly. We're just all hanging out, drawing. I mean, the person that bangs it out every Wednesday night is Philip McVan. You can find him on Instagram, PHILIPMCVANN. He bangs that out every time. I always try to low-key compete with him, but once he does his sketch lines and lays out what he's planning to draw, I just go, okay, I'm not gonna compete. I'm just gonna do my silly drawing. Can it be anonymous? Yeah, you don't have to. We encourage people to tag if they want to be tagged, but you can keep it anonymous. You can keep your drawing anonymous. I do credit everyone that credits themselves in their drawing. With every post that I make, I will credit. If it's uncredited, I'll just leave an @ sign and 3 question marks, and no one has to answer it if they don't want to. There's been a few drawings that have remained anonymous and have not been identified. No one will be penalized at this time. What do you like to draw? Hey, what do you like to draw?
Texting a few people I know. I text Bob. I'm like, hey man, are you okay? And nothing.
I might go on the drawing board tomorrow and if there's any squares left, I'll probably stream another drawing on. just to fill it up. I don't think I made story posts about it that we still have the link up. Today I made a reel post, an Instagram reel post. Just to let everyone know that the online drawing board is still up.
Because I'm just, this guy, as people may know, he's like he's the guy that we sent a tape to 15 years ago.
We had the Discord set up so that when we do stream live our drawing board, we can all chat with each other. So if you'd like to join, you join in Discord. Wonder if you can just join Discord and just mute yourself if you just want to listen.
Wake up the next morning, nothing. And now people are really getting worried, right? Everybody's going, this isn't good, man.
I think this is done. Anime creatures of my own food, small bunnies, literally almost anything but hands. Hands are still hard to draw. You notice there's no hands here? Just faces. Yeah, I just draw what I like to draw. Straightforward faces with abstract shapes that kind of resemble fabric or some hard surface thing. Here's the trick. If you want to just draw abstract stuff, if you want to hide this, if you want to just draw abstract stuff looks cool, and it also doesn't really reference anything. So all this stuff can never look wrong because there's no real world basis to it. But when you put a texture to it, it kind of resembles some type of surface, but even still, there's no real world exact reference to these things. So the drawing looks correct because there's no real reference to it. And then if you add a face, the face is recognizable so that you accept the face. So that when you put things around the face or under the face that kind of resemble shoulders, kind of resemble a helmet or a hat or whatever, now it looks like a functioning thing. That's the trick that I do. But I do full figure stuff and blah 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 blah. Just as long and you have to have a good sense of anatomy, and once you do, that's when you know to exaggerate anatomy. And even still, because you're exaggerating it, the anatomy doesn't have to be correct. It just has to be convincing. And that's one trick too. If you want to draw hands, you just gotta keep drawing hands and noticing where the muscles are in the hands, how they're portrayed, the fat, like this the palm pad thing. Like it always follows this line, according to my hand. Other people's hands are different. Their fingers are different. People's fingernails are different. So you can get away with like drawing almost irregular shapes on fingernails, and they'll always look correct. Look how crooked my middle finger is. How bent that thing is. If I drew this finger, it would look wrong, but there's a real reference to it, and here it is. Oh, I'll keep it. We're allowed to mute and listen. I haven't seen anyone mute and listen before, but you can try. We do have our member who started the Discord, Enkidu. He likes calling out people that he sees on Discord and inviting them to the chat. But I'd rather, when Enkidu mentions that, I also remind him that to let them ask to join, because not everybody wants to chat while they're drawing. Some people want to be left alone. And that's in real life too. At that Thursday event, you can tell the people that just want to be left alone and they want to draw. Then when they're ready to talk, then they will talk. You can't force them to talk. You can say hi. I'll say hi to people if I haven't bumped into them yet throughout the night. But if I see them concentrating, head down, never looking up, I will leave them alone. I'll pop in and say hi, and then I will make my exit. But then now I give them anxiety because now they're awaiting the next person to approach them and say something to them. Oops. Listening to my hijacker, but I'm not even really listening to it. I gotta pause it because I missed so much good stuff. I'll play this music. I'll play some music. It's not too quiet. Maybe it's okay if it's too quiet, huh? I always feel like I'm compelled to talk, but do I have to talk? Or can I just shut up and draw? Because I think my talking is very annoying. I try to be funny, but it just comes off as cheesy. It's not funny. It's not fun. Yeah, I think this is pretty much done. There's this area here. You need to differentiate this character, the background character with the foreground character. So what do? Let's just put him in a little bit of shadow. Okay. That's okay though, it's not a bad thing. Okay, let's erase the pencil lines and then see what we've done.
Do you have a favorite drawing style? Favorite drawing style? Yeah, it's just this. This is my drawing style. But of other artists, I like comic book style. I like manga, different manga styles. I like Mobius. You know Mobius, the artist. Jeff Darrow, Mike Mignola. Things with super detail. Tetsuya Terada, Yasushi Narasawa, Takayuki Takeya. Well, I'm using for a reference for this face. I'm noticing, dude. New shadows. Shadows I haven't seen before. What styles do you like? Let me know what styles you like in the comments below. Did I answer the question? Is that the answer you wanted? Anime gummy style. A bubbly one also, yes. Gummy style. What's gummy style? Who's the artist that does gummy style? I gotta write that down, gummy style. I've never heard of that. Such a word. Such a style. When I use reference and I want to find major areas of shadow, I will helps that blurring the eye or blurring your eyes, closing your eyes a little bit, blurring your vision, helps you find the major shadow areas. But since I have terrible eyesight and I'm nearsighted, I can just tilt my head down, looking away from my glasses or without my glasses, and my eyes automatically blur what I see in the distance. Oh, so like this. There's still subtleties that I'm too scared to approach. Giralta. What's going on, buddy? I'm just about done with this drawing. How you been, dude? We missed you at Inkadring. Did you happen to go? I do know that parking was terrible. That's what I wanted to say. I forgot. Nice piece, man. Like the hatching shading. Thanks. Thank you. I like doing the hatching shading. Still, I mean, I look at other people like Bernie Wrightson. Who else does really good hatching shading? Yeah, Bernie Wrightson. He's the master of cross hatching. I always think of him when, as I'm doing the cross hatching, and Fuck, I still can't get it. Still can't get it close enough to what he does. I just have a bike to move around. No can do at night. Oh, okay, I get it. I get it. Well, we hope to see you. See you at an event sometime soon. Maybe we'll hit up Art Bar or something. Art Bar. Shout out to June, who June's the first one to notice your work, and he shot it. He added a photo in one of our chats, and then I said, "Ooh, this Kiralta is something." So I immediately followed you. I often go to Aaron Horkey to study his. Oh yeah, Aaron Horkey. Yeah, he's good too. God, that guy is. His lines are too clean, so fucking clean. Yeah, I love. Yeah, his work is amazing too. His lines are so clean. His lines seem so unachievable, such a way that only he can get those lines. He's one of the few people that can create those lines that I don't even bother trying to do it that clean. I approach my lines more like Katsuya Terada. He never draws a straight line. His lines are always crooked. And seeing him do that made me realize that it's okay to not have lines don't have to be super straight. I have to go. Oh, yeah. All right, I'm done. This is done. This drawing is done. I can't see who's watching on. Can I? No, I can't. Can I? So there it is. Final drawing. Next stream will be the panel at the bottom, or I might get into another online art jam drawing since the link is still up. But I have to ask June's permission, but I do want to stream the inking process for the comic that June and I are working on together. Maybe that'll be a future stream session. We'll see, but thanks for hanging out. Oh, I love you. Oh, I love you more. And Kiralta, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Peace.